Good evening, Internet, and welcome to TopShift 100. First of all, before I start, I'd like to show you this. That is my first elite ranking since 1985. Welcome to the Vanguard. Now, the Vanguard is a megaship that was put in with 3.0. It's an Aegis megaship where you can pick up Thargoid massacre missions. Now, one of the advantages that got put in 3.0 is the Marauder Thargoid vessel. Now, these vessels can be attacked by any weapon. You're not restricted to the AX specialist weapons that you need to take out the big interceptors. Now, as I look through here for a mission that I can actually demonstrate this with you, allow me to explain this about the Eagle Eye network. Now, there are two Aegis ships flying about at the moment, and these ships are the only places where I found you can pick up these massacre missions. However, they're not the only places where you can encounter Thargoid scouts. Obviously, down in the Pleiades, there are plenty of non-human USSs which are 4 or less, and those will normally contain scouts. But out here, and we're only 100 light years away from Sol at the moment, the Thargoids have been incursing into human space. Now, we have discovered a weapon against this. With 3.0, new facilities were built in the Pleiades system. Oh, you must admit, that is a nice view of the planet there. And what I think I'll do is I'll boost away and then switch it into flight assist off, and we can have a nice look at the megaship as we retreat. Yes. So there you have it. There's the Aegis the ship Vanguard. Now, as I was saying, the Eagle Eye network was put in at 3.0, and what happens is that every week, every Thursday after the server reset, it sends out messages which you can decode as coordinates. Now, these coordinates are then supplied. People go out to those coordinates, which normally involves visiting Thargoid bases and going through the whole business of accessing the Thargoid base, using the Thargoid links and getting the star map up. The upshot of all this is that when you activate the Thargoid link outside of the base, it will give off a whole load of signals. Now, Canon have gone and debugged this, or investigated this, and found that some of the sounds can point to different systems. And it turns out that once you work out where those different systems are, the Thargoid scouts start appearing in those systems. The upshot is once Canon have decoded where the Thargoids are going to attack, the people in the Anti-Xeno League normally swamp those systems, including myself, and we basically take out as many Thargoid scouts or interceptors as we can find. Because what we have discovered is that if you manage to kill enough scouts and interceptors in the targeted systems, the stations do not get attacked by Thargoids at the end of the week. Now, I'm pleased to say at this moment in time, we've managed to stop 3 weeks in a row. We've managed to stop new stations being attacked. That's the first time that's happened. And you've got to take your hats off to the Anti-Xeno League, which have been very well organised in trying to contain this. I mean, there's been an awful lot of criticism about the fact that all this Thargoid contact is completely consensual, if you see what I mean. You're not forced to fight them. You choose to fight them. But can you imagine how much salt there'd be the other way around? The downside to all this stuff, though, is that shooting down the Thargoid scouts especially doesn't pay that well. I mean, for instance, when I started doing this about a month ago, I had 350 million in the bank. I'm now down to approximately 225 million, mostly due to ship rebuys and transporting the T10 all over the shop. However, that's beside the point. I don't mind spending the money because this is actually quite fun. So as you can see here, it follows the same pattern as a typical assassination mission. You scan the beacon. The beacon will tell you an approximate location of where you'll find the Thargoids or your contact, and you basically fly out there until you see the mission contact. Now, as I was saying, the downside is that it doesn't pay that well. And yeah, with only 10,000 credits per Thargoid kill, it does do damage to your monetary balance, your bank balance. But like I was saying, I don't mind it because it's fun. It's just that, yeah. However, a way around this is to run the massacre missions off the Aegis megaships. Now, what happens there is that you end up doing the same content. You take out Thargoid scouts, but you also get paid a vast amount, which covers a lot of the repair costs and a lot of the munition costs. And I'm actually beginning to slowly claw my way back up the list. Although another hint I should point out at this moment is, if you carry water to these megaships, they pay an absolute fortune for it. It's phenomenal. So, I mean, I've managed to make several million back just by carrying water to these things and then doing the massacre missions on top. Now, I'm still flying towards this one solitary contact. I mean, you still do have the jumping around and the waiting, but yeah, it's, as you see, not that far from Sol either. It's they've actually been in retreat a little bit. They got to, the Thargoids had hit stations which were just outside 60 light years away from Sol and 60 light years away from Akana, the capitals of the Federation and the Empire respectively. But now they seem to, we've managed to push them back to about 90 to 100 light years away. But you do get the feeling that if you ever take the foot off the pedal, if you do not keep on killing the Thargoids when they appear in system, then they're going to start moving towards, I'm going to assume Earth, and the capital of the Empire again. Now, one of the things I will say at this point, you will have noticed it is TopShift 100. If it is TopShift 100, it means I've actually got some prizes. Frontier were kind enough to give me 3 full game keys for people to use for secondary accounts, or if this is the first time you've ever seen this, please feel free to enter a competition. That I'm just going to say. I've got a question to set, and the first 3 people who reply to the email address, which will be appearing on your screen right about now. There you go. First 3 people who reply to this email address with the correct answer will get a key for Elite Dangerous. Brand new edition. You can use it as a second account, third account even, or if you're just starting out. It's for the PC only, unfortunately, so I'm afraid I don't have any for consoles. But the question is, of course, is the Thargoids, as we know, are split into 2 factions. What is the name of those 2 factions? That's probably quite an easy one for a lot of the old-timers, but you never know. There might be a few newbies out there that might know the answer, that might want a key. So, as I was saying, yep, 2 factions of Thargoids. What are their names? So, competition time over and done with. Now, 3.0, I've been playing it now for what, 3 months. We're approaching Q2, which has got a lot of people speculating about what's happening with 3.1. Now, at this moment in time, we have no news about 3.1. We think they're just going to spring on us. There's not going to be a beta or anything like that. But if I remember rightly, it's supposed to be a smaller, much smaller patch than the first one, 3.0, and 3.3, which will become late in the last quarter of this year. Now, as people on the forums have already pointed out, this is not. They feel that a lot of momentum has been lost lately. And there's not much really you can say to it, because there are an awful lot of players who have put in about 3,000 to 4,000 hours into this game so far. And I think people are beginning to run out of things to do. And my concern is, I don't know whether or not Frontier are going to be able to keep the content coming fast enough to keep those 3,000 hour-long players happy. You can see a lot of discontent on the forums about it. But still, I mean, for me personally, this Thargoid content that I'm dealing with at the moment had actually revitalized the game for me, because it reminds me so much of XCOM Interceptor, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Because basically I loved XCOM, I loved X-Wing, and XCOM Interceptor was the perfect merge of the two. And this, I feel as if I am a pilot back in my XCOM Interceptor, but without all the strategic stuff. The strategic stuff seems to be handled by Cannon. I just get the orders and I head out, but at the moment I'm quite happy with that. So we're still flying around looking for more Thargoids. Oh, here we go. There's the blue highlighter. We'll bring round the ship. Here we go. Right, I'm going to launch my fighter because I need a distraction, because these guys have a tendency to rip my shields apart if I'm not careful. There goes the fighter.
Fighter is ready to go, Commander.
But there's no Thargoids. There is one other ship here, and he's a Federal vessel. He seems to be fine. Right. Ooh. Right, out with the AX turrets. I've found that the AX turrets, these class 3s, are lethal to these marauders. And I use the flat cannon as well from time to time. There we go.
The odds aren't stacked in our favor, Commander. Let's try to split these targets up.
As you can see, they're having a good crack through my shields already. My fighter seems to be holding out okay. Oh, maybe a wrong idea for the flat cannon. There we go.
Destroyed.
That's one down. I think I've got another 9 or 10 to go, but I'm not that bothered at the moment. There's the next one. Send the fighter after him as well. So you can see that the turrets are tracking these fighters a lot easier, because the T10, I'll be honest, I do like the T10, but it's these things run rings around it. In fact, the Interceptors run rings around it, which is a bit of a shame. Right, so I've almost lost my shields now. One thing that I do love, the sound design for this, as per usual with Elite Dangerous, is great, because this reminds me of flying against in Battlestar Galactica. The cannons sound like the Vipers, and the Thargoids flying past sound like the Cylons, which I think is a fantastic piece of inspiration, if you like. That's another one. Now,
I read you.
the
Got
one
target on my
thing that
scanner.
these things do have
Got a
that
heavy
can
shooter
really
here, Commander.
damage your ship are caustic missiles and their explosions. If you travel through, if you get hit by a caustic missile, or you travel through the debris cloud, then unfortunately your ship gets covered in the caustic substance which oh blast.
Target down.
There we go, there's a prime example. I now have caustic damage. That is slowly eating away at my hull, and there are 3 ways to get rid of it. 1, you dock at a station. 2, you run your heat to about 170%. But you also have this thing, which is the caustic decontamination
I've got
drone.
some hull integrity issues. I'm at 50%.
And unfortunately, my poor fighter has been covered in this stuff as well.
Hull is critical.
It's
Not
just
sure
going
how
to
much
get
longer
eaten.
I can hold out.
Not going to last long at all. There you go. Fighter's lost because of
Fighter
the...
in toast, Commander. It didn't stand a chance.
Yeah. Thankfully, the pilot wasn't in there. But of course, that's it starting to build a new fighter. I've got about 15 fighters in each bay. I've got 2 bays. So I'm okay for the moment. But yes, that caustic damage has cost me so many credits until I worked out how to use the decontamination limpet. So I would recommend that if you are going Thargoid hunting, carry some decom limpets with you. It will save you a lot of cash in the long run. And of course, you've got all these Thargoid materials to scoop. At the moment, I don't think there's anything you can use them for, but you might as well store them up just in case they're used at a later point. I think some of the material and tech brokers, they do have requirements for Thargoid components, but I haven't actually touched on those yet, so we'll be looking into that at a later point. So, I'm afraid to say, as far as these missions are concerned, they do pay very well. At the moment, what you would do at this point is I've only managed to kill 4 out of my required 9 or 10. So what you do is you basically wipe them out, low wake away.
Cargo scoop retracted. Fighter assembly complete.
There's no point at me. I'm not going to scoop that before it goes. You can see it's already almost down at 1%. And there it goes.
Frameshift drive charging.
So what you do is you low wake away, you fly around again until you get another one of the mission contacts, and you drop in again and rinse and repeat until you've managed to get your quota.
3, 2, 1. Engage.
Once that's done, then you head back, and normally at this point, I'll spoilers, I succeeded in this mission. I managed to get over 650,000 for the mission itself. I managed to get another 120,000 for the Thargoid interceptors, 750,000. My repair costs were less than 50. My pilot took a big cut, but apart from that, that was about 25 to 30 minutes of fun for about a million, well, 500,000 credits. I mean, it keeps the paying for the ship, but you know, it's not a big money earner, but it's better than losing, God, what was it, over 125 million in the last month or so. But still, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for joining me, and if you like what you see, please give us a subscribe and ring the bell down below. A like and subscribe always helps, makes me feel better about myself, blah blah blah. And please remember that the competition, it will be open for I think 2 weeks until after LaveCon, and the question is, what is the name of the 2 separate species of Thargoid? So, in addition, if you do want to support this and see more of these TopShift videos, please also check the affiliate links below.
Mission objective detected.
And I'll leave you as I just head in to deal with another batch of Thargoids. Thank you very much, and good night.